all-new 22 Civic, now on sale at Team Honda on Siegen Lane.
Hi, business owners. Phase 3. Woohoo! But do your customers know you're back? Well, that's where the Clarence Bug Show and Pelican Broadcasting can help. Right now, we've got great rates on advertising packages to help you get the word out. Shoot me an email at bugsclarence@gmail.com. Or better yet, call me up. I'd love to talk with you. 225-485-6839. Let's get together and make Phase 3 the best it can possibly be.
They said I could find you here. Why are you fishing? Our company's got to ship out 2 full color brochures and 20 color copies. You're killing me.
It's done. Designed, printed, packaged, and shipped.
How?
You just got to know the right people. Baker Printing, the printing people.
How come you get to fish in this private lake?
Like I said, you just got to know the right people. You can know the right people too.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Hello and welcome to today's edition of the Clarence Bug Show. Here's hoping all is well with you and yours in your world since our brief hiatus some 48 hours ago. We start today's show with Louisiana news. And if you are a student at Louisiana State University or the parent of a student enrolled there, tomorrow is the deadline for students there to either be fully or partially vaccinated and or report your vaccination status to the university. An email was sent out this week to students who have not shared their vaccination status with the school. When the FDA gave approval to the Pfizer vaccine, LSU announced that students there would have to report proof of either a first shot or being fully vaccinated by October 15th. Those who do not adhere to this mandate, according to LSU, will be, quote, unenrolled from the university and will receive a prorated rebate on their tuition. Here's what's interesting about this. Louisiana State University most recently said that as of August 25th, 25,000 students had reported their vaccination status. What that means is over 10,000 students, nearly a third of the student body, is potentially subject to unenrollment. You know, this is rhetorical. I think we all already know the answer. But I've got to wonder, let's say for the sake of the conversation, this third of the LSU student body does not adhere to the mandate and are then unenrolled. If that were to happen, would the funding to Louisiana State University be cut by a third? Here's why I ask. Conventional wisdom says if you receive X amount of dollars from the state, taxpayer money, and you now have 1/3 fewer students to service, shouldn't you be able to get by with 1/3 less funding? Just a question, just something for you to think about. It is going to be interesting to see, one, how many students request a waiver, which you can do online, by the way. And what's going to happen to the funding? At the end of the day, these are taxpayer dollars. And if we find out later on that you were able to function with less money, then wouldn't it stand to reason that we should question how much money is being appropriated to the school? And listen, this is not exclusive to LSU. This is higher ed in general. Taxpayer dollars supporting institutions. And if you mandate the unenrollment of students, it only stands to reason you should be able to get by with fewer taxpayer dollars. Now, for the record, no doubt about it, we know that's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. But just for the record, I would like to make it known. We need to watch our taxpayer dollars, where they're going, how they're being allocated. Because at the end of the day, bottom line, it's your money. Other Louisiana news, scam alerts. I don't really need to run down the list, I would think, of post-storm scams. We've all seen it after every single hurricane / flood / major storm in our area. We often talk about how adversity brings out the best that humanity has to offer, but it also has a tendency to bring out the worst. With so many people all across Louisiana, particularly South Louisiana, having adverse effects from Hurricane Ida, homes damaged all across the board, many of you are going to be desperate to get the repair process started. Please, y'all, don't be so desperate that you allow common sense to be thrown out the window. You should by now be very familiar with how these scam artists work. Always check for insurance validation, state licensing, and of course, never, ever pay money up front. It is a sad commentary that we have to even think about this. Well, certainly, surely, nobody would look to take advantage of a homeowner in dire straits after going through something as horrible as Hurricane Ida. If you are of that opinion, surely people wouldn't take advantage of us. Well, you are probably going to be the first one to lose your money. It's a sad commentary about the state of society when people purposely look for individuals who are hurting, look for people who are suffering, and make a conscious effort to take advantage of those people. If by chance you fall prey to the scammers, let me encourage you to hurry up and get over the embarrassment factor. Report these folks to law enforcement and the proper agencies, and hopefully, if you aren't able to recoup your losses, if nothing else, you can help folks not be the next victim of these people. We are entertaining some folks in our state these days that have migrated here to help in our recovery. There are thousands of folks, particularly on the weekend. They will leave where they live, come into South Louisiana, and help with the recovery process. There's a group of folks, thousands of them, from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. They have been inundating the area, giving freely of their time and their resources to help with the recovery process. We'd like to say a welcome, very hearty South Louisiana welcome to those fine people, and let them know, I'm sure they understand and they know how much we appreciate them being here, but some things you are obligated to say. And in this case, we are so very glad to have you here giving unselfishly of your time, your energy, and your resources to help us in this recovery. Also, the thousands of utility workers that migrated here. And I know some of y'all, I saw on a message board just yesterday. Well, I don't know if we need to be thanking these utility folks because that's their job and the company sent them here. Well, all of that may or may not be true. But at the end of the day, think how long we would have to go to be fully restored if they weren't here. I, for one, never lost power, but I am eternally grateful for those who did, to have all of these folks show up and help out the way they are. It is another example of, along with the volunteers, how adversity will bring out the best in America. It is something we've seen time and time again. And of course, got to say a very special thank you, big time attaboy, to our friends over at the Cajun Navy, Todd Terrell and his group, doing what they do every time there is a disaster striking our state. If we could just bottle the sentiment of the Cajun Navy, well, if I could do it, and I could sell it for, I don't know, $9.99 a bottle. And if you use your credit card, we'll double the offer, wink, wink. I wouldn't sell it, I'd give it away. Because the folks at the Cajun Navy epitomize what Louisiana is all about. It's gotten to the point now where, since the advent of this organization, if we don't see them, we start wondering what in the world is going on. These folks know how to get stuff done. They never wait for people to ask, and they are more efficient and more effective than maybe any 4 or 5 governmental agencies combined. Thank you, guys and girls of the Cajun Navy, and thank you for your support of this absolutely awesome organization. We are coming right up on our first break of this hour. You know, it says a lot about any country, any society, when you look at the trust they have, or in our case now, don't have, in the institutions and the individuals that they have elected to serve us. Our federal government is waning in confidence from the American people at a level that may be unprecedented. New polls out show that Americans across the board, Democrats, Republicans, independents, are rapidly losing faith in the federal government and, more important, where our government is leading us. We'll talk about that after we get our first break of this hour out of the way on the Clarence Bug Show, only on the Pelican. Stay close.
I owed the IRS $10,000.
The IRS garnished my wages.
They put a lien on my house.
I'm self-employed and didn't report all my income. They claim I owe a lot more than I do.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency in the world. They do not give up until you pay.
I couldn't sleep. We were being audited. I called Tax Solutions Now, and a great big weight was lifted off my shoulders.
I called Tax Solutions Now, and they got the IRS off my back.
Tax Solutions Now had my wage garnishment lifted in 48 hours.
Tax Solutions Now can get you help. Our agents know the rules, can stop the pain, and get you the best deal.
Tax Solutions Now saved my business.
I qualified for the Fresh Start program. I paid less than I owed.
We connect you with a team of former IRS agents and tax professionals who get the IRS off your back. Time is running out. Call Tax Solutions now.
Call 800-778-4345. 800-778-4345.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystonCountryClub.com.
Go where summer leads you in an award-winning Mazda CUV. Find yours during Mazda's season of discovery.
Call, click, or come by and discover your new Mazda today at Baton Rouge's Mazda dealer, Team Mazda on Airline.
Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent. Depend on us for service, for selection, for price. Get huge Whirlpool savings. Shop now and save on Whirlpool appliances throughout the store. Plus, experience our price match guarantee and ask about special financing. You can depend on the know-how of people who live appliances every day. Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent with nationwide buying power.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
Welcome back to today's edition of the Clarence Bud Show. If you were with us heading into the last break, you know that I teased the fact that we as Americans are losing faith in the federal government in record-breaking fashion. You know what is so ironic about this? Leading up to the last presidential election, the media helped spin the narrative of the left that we need a change of direction, a change in leadership, and the only way to do this is to elect Joe Biden as president. Well, apparently, just mere months into this administration, a lot of folks are having serious buyer's remorse. Any number of polls, and I will quote numbers from the Economist YouGov poll, shows that President Joe Biden's approval rating on major issues across the board are in the tank. Only 39% of Americans approve of the job that Joe Biden and his administration are doing. Only 16% think that our economy is improving. And I won't even go and talk about the numbers for Congress. What is baffling is that I'm sure if you were to ask any member of the Biden administration or the Democrat Party, for that matter, why do we have, as Americans, such little faith in you these days? They would probably be hard-pressed to come up with an answer. So I thought maybe I would help them out just a little bit because, again, they would probably say to themselves, well, I have no idea why they don't have confidence in the job that we're doing. Well, it may have something to do with the fact that despite appointing a border czar, the situation at our southern border now is worse than it's ever been, and getting more so with every passing day. It may have something to do with the fact that this week Democrats downvoted, stalled, refused to give the American people an accounting, a full accounting, of all the weapons left in Afghanistan. As a matter of fact, the federal government now has gone so far under the direction of the State Department and the White House to scrub, take off federal websites the accounting of weapons spent and given to Afghanistan. Now, these are weapons paid for by American taxpayer dollars. These are weapons that, in all likelihood, will end up being used against the Afghanistan people, and God only knows who else if they fall into the hands of other terrorist-affiliated organizations. And when it comes down to it, those folks responsible, Congress, for spending your money have now taken it upon themselves to erase from public view the accounting of those dollars. Now, to show you the utter ineptitude of the folks that are running this country, when Defense Department officials were asked for an accounting and an explanation on why this is being scrubbed from public view, you know what they said? Well, the reason we've taken this information down is because if the Taliban knew exactly what we had, how much of it we had, and how much was left there, it might put people in danger. Really? You can't make this stuff up. Now, remember the old adage, everything that comes up doesn't need to come out? Better yet, the other old adage that would apply here is, it's often better to be thought a fool and keep your mouth shut than it is to open it and remove all doubt. These are the same folks that will tell you, well, we took this information down because it might endanger other people. These are the same people that gave the freaking Taliban a list of Americans and Afghan allies that we need to evacuate. You ever have those scratch your head moments where people will tell you something so stupid that it just leaves you scratching your head? I don't know, maybe we figure, there's a reasonable explanation. It's somewhere in my head. If I scratch it, maybe it'll come to me. I mean, this is absolute insanity. And at the end of the day, what may be most disheartening of all is that those who cast a vote for this administration are not standing up and demanding accountability. It's one thing when Americans say, well, I didn't vote for the guy or the girl because I knew he or she wasn't qualified. I didn't vote for them because I don't like their policies. I didn't vote for them because certain things they've said, certain things they've done in the past. That's one thing. But when you vote for someone, don't you feel as though they owe you better, in this case, than what you're getting? It's part and parcel. If you're a Democrat and voted for this administration and you're not upset over what is happening in this country, you know what that's a sign of? That the media and the left succeeded in ginning up your hatred for one guy, Donald Trump, to the point where you are now willing to accept anything, even things that are detrimental to you and yours. Let's understand something here, y'all. Inflation is going to affect everybody, Democrat, Republican alike. Crisis at the border is going to affect everybody, Democrat and Republican alike. Spending billions of dollars on weapons and literally handing it over to terrorists will affect Democrat and Republican alike. And at the end of the day, because we are so hyper-partisan these days, a Democrat administration is not going to be concerned, pay attention, or try to have a better perspective for the other side. We've become so partisan, Democrats don't care what Republicans think. A lot of Republicans don't care what Democrats think. But when you're talking about issues that affect all of us, particularly those of you that have made certain things possible, if you don't register your displeasure, things will never get any better. And you know, quite frankly, while we have become so hyper-partisan, when a terrorist decides to set off an IED, dirty bomb, mass shooting, whatever, that terrorist is not going to take a poll prior to pushing the detonator on whether the crowd that they're about to blow up is more Democrat or more Republican. All they're concerned about is that they're Americans and I want to kill them. God only knows where we are heading in this country. When we come back after this upcoming break, racism alert. Hadn't had one of those in a while, but I saw a story yesterday that said to me in no uncertain terms, we have people in this country that are making policy, making decisions, and steering the social direction of this country that either have absolutely no real world experience or they're just plain stupid. Hadn't had a racism alert in a while. This one, speaking of, you ever had a scratch your head moment? That's up next when we continue today's edition of the Clarence Bug Show, only on the Pelican. Stay close.
Got termites? Get Premier Pest. PremierPestServices.com.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
Hi, I'm Hurricane Betsy Barnes.
And I'm Dr. Kay Siller with The Rocket Right Show.
We are two busy blondes on the go showing off life in Louisiana.
Watch us on Pelican Sports Network.
And Talk 107.3 FM. Check local listings for times.
Hi, business owners. Phase 3. Woohoo! But do your customers know you're back? Well, that's where the Clarence Bug Show and Pelican Broadcasting can help. Right now, we've got great rates on advertising packages to help you get the word out. Shoot me an email at bugsclarence@gmail.com. Or better yet, call me up. I'd love to talk with you. 225-485-6839. Let's get together and make Phase 3 the best it can possibly be.
Hello, guys. It's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Caught spiders? Premier Pest Services.
Okay, thank you, Marty. Thank the truck. Got it. Welcome back to today's edition of the Clarence Bug Show. You know, I understand full well that everyone's life experience is not the same. Well, let me retract that. There are certain aspects of our life experiences that some can't relate to, others can. For example, think back, for those of you that have had this life experience, as a child, the first time you interacted with, on a regular basis, someone who does not look like you. The first time as a child, you went to school, if you're black, with white people. Or, conversely, the first time, if you're white, as a child, you went to school with black people. The overwhelming majority of people that have had this life experience will tell you that children don't see color. Put them all together in a room, throw out a bunch of toys, and watch how they get along. Put them together, present them with a problem, and watch how they work together to solve the problem. I don't have any numbers in front of me to verify it one way or the other, but I would imagine well upwards of 95% of us that as children found ourselves in a situation dealing with people that don't look like us, made it work. In the wake of the left, liberals, and particularly the media, attempting to divide us along racial lines and ideologies, you've seen in recent memory any number of companies institute anti-racism instruction. The latest of which is Google. Recently, Google had training sessions for their employees focusing on how to be anti-racist. So they brought in infamous author and professor Ibram X. Kendi to conduct this anti-racism instruction. Get this. According to this guy, and you wonder why we are where we are, he argues that all Americans, including children as young as 3 months old, are fundamentally racist. Quote, to be raised in the United States is to be raised to be racist. And to be raised to be racist is to be almost addicted to racist ideas. The youngest of people are not colorblind. Between 3 and 6 months, our toddlers are beginning to understand race and see race. His solution is to, quote, respond in the same way that we respond when they're diagnosed with a serious illness. Quote, denying one's complicity in racism is only further proof of a person's racism. For me, the heartbeat of racism is denial. And the sound of that denial is, I am not racist. So according to this guy, 3 months of age, you can be a racist. Huh. Now, Google is what Google is. Okay? We all know this. But to insult the intelligence of people, and maybe they don't view it as insulting people's intelligence, maybe they simply view it as a further indoctrination and a way to separate us and keep us black and white, brown and yellow, at each other's throats. I have never, ever in my life gone into a room of 3-month-olds, 6-month-olds, 2-year-olds, 5-year-olds, and they willingly, consciously segregated themselves by race. Put on the floor a group of 100 black 3-year-olds and white 3-year-olds, and watch what happens. But according to this guy, at 3 months old, we are recognizing race, developing and embracing racist ideas. What is interesting to me, and of course, Google would never ask this professor the question, is it only white babies that at 3 months of age can be racist? Or is he talking about 3-month-old black kids as well? You know, I was, I don't want to say at the forefront, but I had somewhat of an advantage early in life. At the end of my 5th grade year of school, my father got stationed overseas in Kaiserslautern, Germany. And living on base, there was only one school there for the kids of military servicemen and women to attend. Prior to that, first 5 years of schooling of my life, I was at Southern Lab, all black school. So all of a sudden now, I'm sitting in a classroom, living in an apartment building where there are white kids black kids, Latinos, Asians, covering the gamut. Never had any problem at all getting along with, understanding, appreciating their likes, dislikes, concerns, ideologies, etc. We were kids. We simply did what kids do. You know what is most disheartening about clowns like this professor? If left to their own devices, the overwhelming majority of us would deal with things. We would have folks in the neighborhood, folks at home, relatives, would tell us certain things about people that don't look like us. Man, you gotta watch them white folk. Ooh, them white folk don't like black people, man. Or, man, let me tell you something. All them black folk, they're criminals. We would hear these things, be told these things, but then we would get into the real world. We would sit in a classroom, play at recess, and inevitably we would find out, wait a minute, what you told me is not true. I've got some great black friends. I've got some great white friends. We get along just fine. But it's idiots like this that go out of their way to ferment racial discord. And at the end of the day, you have to ask yourself, why is that? How many times have you heard me say, don't listen to what they say, watch what they do? Why do you think it is a company like Google would bring in someone of this guy's ilk to conduct racial training? I don't know about you, but to me it says there's another agenda at work here. Who knew at 3 months of age, you notice, embrace racism? You know, when it comes to the left, if they didn't have a boogeyman to scare you with, they wouldn't have anything at all. They wouldn't. At some point, hopefully we will collectively show them that we're not as stupid as they think we are. Just saying. Final break of today's show. We'll come back, put that big old pretty bow on this puppy, and wrap up today's edition of the Clarence Buck Show, only on the Pelican. Stay close.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to greystonecountryclub.com.
Taste the feeling. Sometimes life is wonderful, and sometimes it's not. Cherish the good, but always be prepared for life's challenges. At Private Healthcare, we provide the peace of mind you deserve. With Private Healthcare, you'll get the coverage you want and healthcare you need. If your employer doesn't supply healthcare coverage and you don't qualify for Medicare or Medicaid, you need to give us a call right now. Private Healthcare is private health insurance for ages 65 and under with medical, dental, vision, and even prescription coverage. When life comes at you unexpectedly, you need to be ready. And health insurance is your financial safety net. Health insurance has never been so easy and affordable. If you're looking for health coverage at the best price and your annual household income is $35,000 or more, call the number on the screen now and speak with a live healthcare consultant. Don't wait. Get the coverage you need now.
Welcome back to the final segment of today's edition of the Clarence Bug Show. You know, if you are blessed to enjoy any degree of longevity, you, regardless of black, white, Democrat, Republican, whatever, over time you develop a disdain for hypocrites. People that preach one thing to you and do something else are people that most of us cannot stand. As Americans, embracing the idea that we're all equal leaves very little room for hypocritical thoughts and or actions. For example, remember when then President Donald Trump was castigated, called all sorts of crazy names, and the left questioned his, quote, fitness to serve. Oh, Donald Trump, that man, he needs to take a test. Something wrong with that man. He's unstable. Remember that? So he took a cognitive test. Oh, and by the way, he aced it. So, mean tweets aside, we found out the guy's cognitive reasoning skills are fully intact. You may not like what he tweets. You may not like his gruff exterior. You may not like the fact that he shoots from the hip, and what you see is what you get. But because of these personality traits, the left questioned whether or not Donald Trump was fit to serve. Enter President Joe Biden, a guy that as recently as a week ago, once again said to the American people, not only by his actions, but he verbalized it, saying, I'm not going to take questions because I will, quote, get in trouble. So let me get this straight. Here's a guy that at any given moment may say something that nobody, Democrat, Republican, Independent, understands what the hell he's talking about. At any given moment, on any given topic, the leader of the free world is not allowed to answer questions. Now, you've got to ask yourself, okay, why is this? Well, we already know that there's an established history of Joe Biden being a literal gaffe machine. The guy cannot help sticking his foot in his mouth. Now, for the record, there's a difference between sticking your foot in your mouth and swallowing it, okay? On any given day, this guy will say something and nobody knows what the hell he's talking about. And yet, has any Democrat, the mainstream media, the left, have any of them questioned whether or not Joe Biden is fit to serve? A little something to make you go, huh. You know, if I were a Democrat, well, yeah, Marty just said you'd be stupid. Yeah, that too. But I would be particularly incensed because I voted for the guy that won't take questions to find out what America feels. You know, the founding fathers were so far ahead of their time in crafting our freedoms and liberties, particularly as it pertains to a free press. But you have to ask yourself, okay, if this guy won't take questions because his handlers are afraid of what he might say, what does conventional wisdom say about what his ideas are to begin with? You know, if I'm holding a press conference and I'm talking to you about the border, about crime, about inflation, about Afghanistan, about whatever, if I'm giving you information, but you can't ask me anything because your handlers are afraid this guy might say anything, then it leads me to wonder, who's actually running this show? If you are deathly afraid of what he might say, are you also telling me that this guy is formulating policy? Are you actually taking his ideas, his advice, and attempting to fashion policy behind this? If you have ever in your family had someone, God bless them, dealing with Alzheimer's and or dementia, even as a kid, as a child, you recognize something's wrong. Mommy, what's wrong with Uncle Bob? Well, what you mean, darling? Well, we'll be talking about stuff and he'll, start talking about stuff that has nothing to do with what we're talking about. And I asked him about something that he said or did yesterday, and he gave me one answer, and now it's completely different. What's wrong with Uncle Bob? Children can see something's wrong. And yet, we have an entire party, an entire movement that apparently sees no problem with the leader of the free world not being allowed to answer questions. Is that what you voted for? Now listen, I understand it is a part of the human experience that if you live any amount of time, you are probably going to be snookered, hoodwinked, bamboozled somewhere along the way. Something or someone is going to end up being not what you thought it was. I get it. That's a part of life. But at some point, you stand up and demand accountability, and somebody's got to tell me what the hell is going on here. We are talking about issues of national security. We are talking about issues that will affect generations to come in this country. And we have a guy that will tell you, I can't answer questions because I'll get in trouble. Am I the only one that sees something wrong with this scenario? And I also have to wonder, if you can't answer questions about any particular topic, what in the world kind of conversations are you having with the rest of the folks in your administration? Back to Uncle Bob. As a child, and you realize something's wrong with Uncle Bob, after a while, you stop talking to Uncle Bob because you can't trust what he's going to tell you. You have better things to do with your time than talk with somebody who can't put sentences together and maintain a train of thought. And eventually, you tell mom and dad, I'm not comfortable around Uncle Bob anymore. Well, that's the family dynamic. But we're talking about issues of national security here, y'all. And the fact of the matter is, Joe Biden in his current state is not capable of formulating a coherent foreign policy or domestic policy, for that matter. So the question then becomes, who is doing it? Huh? Some of y'all not going to get that till later. But that's okay, as long as at some point, hopefully in the very near future, you get it. 10655 Coursey Boulevard, Bayou Smokehouse is where you can get old school barbecue. Come on by, great group of folks, love to see your face, love to serve you some great food, and love to have you in a great atmosphere. Marty, you turned it, so I have no idea where I am. Thank you, sir. You the man. Time's up, y'all, and I gotta go. But this day, even though it's getting harder, I still say, you know what? You're right. America, we're not perfect. But for this old boy's money, it's still the best there is. And God knows there's no place else on his green earth that I'd rather be. Speaking of the good Lord, you realize he loves you, right? And I hope you know that I do too. Then again, ain't a doggone thing you can do about either one. Take care of yourselves. We'll see you soon. God bless.